Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heart Matters. We're so glad that you all take the time to join us here each week. Each and every one of you matter to us and to God. That's why it's so important to us that you find encouragement and hope whenever you tune in. In today's episode, we'll hear from a lady who contracted COVID very early in the pandemic. Listen in as Cynthia Petten shares her story and how her faith and the support of loved ones made all the difference in her situation. Also joining us as today's musical guests, we're happy to have Jeremy Nippard, who will be joined by his daughter Kristen and friend Daniel Luna on keyboard. Enjoy the show.
I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you.
I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb till I met you.
You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul, and now your freedom is all that I know. The old made new, Jesus, when I met you, when you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day.
I needed rescue, my sin was heavy. The chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan, and you called me a citizen of heaven.
When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open. 'Cause when you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day.
Heart Matters will return in just a moment.
RE/MAX would like to say thank you for allowing us to be a part of the most important transaction of your life. Our mandate is giving back to the communities that serve us. We will be honored to help you with your next move. Call any of our offices today and let one of our RE/MAX agents go to work for you.
Scott's Transport Limited is a family-owned and operated full transportation company located in beautiful Deer Lake. In business for over 25 years and with a fleet of modern equipment and dedicated team, we service the growing needs of businesses from Newfoundland and Labrador to Ontario and locations in between. If it matters to you, it matters to us. Closed captioning provided by Terry's Tints, custom canvases, framing, embroidery, printing, craft supplies, fabrics, leathers, and furs, located in Happy Valley, Goose Bay.
I'm Cynthia Petten from Portagrave, and in March of 2020, my husband Dwight and I had travel plans to go to Florida and then head to Boston for the seafood show. Due to COVID-19, we found out, while we were already in Florida, that the seafood show was cancelled. With everything on the go and each day not knowing what the next held, we decided on the 13th to try and change our tickets and come home earlier, not knowing what was going to happen, if the borders may be closed. And as we were sitting out by the pool, Ryan, by fluke, changed our tickets. So we quickly packed up, said goodbye to our friends, and headed to the airport. We would have to overnight in Toronto, and we felt okay with this. At least we were in Canada. We rented a vehicle and drove to Niagara Falls to enjoy the day. And that evening, we boarded a flight for home and arrived in St. John's the night of the 14th. The first few days home, I kept busy, doing housework, baking, bottling mousse, cleaning. Not being able to go anywhere, I started my spring cleaning because I was feeling good. Melissa's birthday was Sunday, March the 29th, and as every other year, I cooked dinner and made her a carrot cake. And because we were not allowed to come together, my family came and took takeouts. When Dwight and I sat down to eat our dinner, I couldn't get no taste on my dinner. I thought that's strange. And that evening, I still didn't have much appetite to eat, and I had cheese and crackers for my supper and still couldn't get no taste. But I was unaware that this was a symptom of COVID-19. The next day I felt weak and I managed to get a shower and I rested all day, but still no appetite. Then Tuesday I was thinking, I think I feel a little bit stronger. But Wednesday I felt weak, still no appetite. So I called my family doctor and he suggested that I may have an infection. That night I went to bed feeling very sick and woke through the night throwing up. I didn't have strength to get out of bed. So they decided they should bring me to the hospital. At the time, no one was allowed into emergency. Dwight dropped Melanie and I off at the door. She brought me in and a nurse met us at the door telling Melanie, you're not allowed to come in. So she hugged me and left, and they felt so helpless and I wasn't completely aware of what was going on. Doctors and nurses ran tests and decided to take me to the health science. Still no talk of COVID. That night I was admitted to ICU. And at 2 a.m., the doctor called Dwight asking the question, if needed, would it be okay if we used the ventilator? During this phone call, Dwight was notified that, yes, I did have COVID. And he, as well as Melanie, my son Matthew, Melissa, and granddaughter Olivia, had to be tested. No doubt this was a very stressful time for my family. But the blessing in all of this was that they were all tested negative. How? I can only say it was God. My family believes in the power of prayer. We have proven it so many times, and now more than ever, we needed it. Melanie happened to get connected with a nurse. Through the tears, this nurse prayed with Melanie over the phone. Even through Melanie's isolation, this nurse tracked down her number and called to check on her and myself because she couldn't get Melanie off her mind. Again, God was faithful. She also contacted a lady from our church, Judy Ellis, who has been a constant encouragement to Melanie since in university. On Friday morning, Melanie told Judy that I was admitted to the ICU, and she assured her that she was still praying. And Judy told her how that morning God reminded her of his resurrection power. Judy said, and I quote, "In 3 days, I believe there will be major improvement. Claim Jesus' resurrection power to raise up your mom with more healing than we can imagine." In the corner of my room was a chair. No one could visit me, but to me, the Lord was sitting in that chair beside me. And before COVID, I remember one day standing by my dining room window, talking to the Lord about a situation that we were going through, when that verse from the Bible was dropped into my spirit about the sparrow and how God cares for it and how much more he cares for me and you. I said, Lord, send a bird to reassure me that you're with me. A couple of times I looked out on the deck and there was a little bird there, and it was just a reminder to me that the Lord was with me. And I'm so fearful when it comes to doctors and going to hospitals and stuff, but it's like I had a peace about everything. Friday evening, I couldn't have much conversation, nor do I remember much about it. But on Saturday, Melanie shared with me the conversation she had with Judy. This meant the world to me. Sunday, the third day, I got up and was able to get myself ready for the day. I had my breakfast, and this in itself was a miracle. A doctor spoke to me through a speaker in the wall. That's the way that they communicated with me. And he said, Mrs. Petten, you may be going home today. He agreed that someone was looking out for me. Not long after, my usual nurse was gone, and a new nurse came in to see me, or I thought she was new. She was actually the nurse who was on shift when I was admitted to ICU on Thursday. She was shocked to see how well I was, and she said, and I quote again, "Are you the same lady that was admitted to ICU on Thursday night?" I told her yes. It was me. Monday, April 6th, all arrangements were made for me to go home. From my room to the door of the hospital, I had 2 security guards in front of me dressed in their garb and a nurse pushing me in a wheelchair. And when we got to the door of the hospital, there was a white cube van. The vehicle inside was covered in plastic, duct taped at every seam. On the drive home, I had a lady driver. She was very friendly and talkative. And when we got in my driveway, the driver got out, walked around, and opened my door, as I was not allowed to touch the handle. She walked about 10 feet from the vehicle and then gave me permission to get out. I turned to close the door like you would, and she said, "No, ma'am, I will do that. You go inside and give me a thumbs up through the window to let me know you're okay." While I was in the hospital, my family went through a whole different ordeal at home. Melanie and Melissa received calls from police officers because they were reported for not self-isolating when they hadn't moved from their homes only to get tested. I also received a call. I was seen in 3 different public buildings when I hadn't went outside my door. Talk about being put down when you were already at a low point. Through this old pandemic, reminders are everywhere to simply be kind. But through all of this, the positive outweighed the negative. The love, prayers, and support we all receive will stick out in our minds forever. As of April 17th, 2020, I was free from COVID. I haven't had a single long-term side effect from COVID-19. I will never forget the resurrection power on the 3rd day, and to God be all the glory.
We appreciate all of you tuning in each week, and we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email or a message through social media telling us what you've enjoyed about the show, or give us a suggestion for an upcoming episode. And if you follow us online, you can keep up to date with the upcoming events and info. Still to come on today's show, The Bottom Line with Mike Freake, and more music from Jeremy Nippard when Heart Matters returns.
From envelopes to tractor-trailer loads, Dooley's Trucking caters to all your shipping needs. Capable of meeting all your shipping requirements throughout Newfoundland. Dooley's Trucking is your choice for fast and efficient delivery. Ship with the best. Ship Dooley's.
My name is Brandon. I'm the owner here at Gander Appliance and Furniture. We sell a wide variety of appliances and furniture, including Canadian-made Decorest, Ashley Furniture, Samsung, as well as Whirlpool. Please visit us at 292 Airport Boulevard here in Gander. Also visit us at our location in Lewisport at 1 Fairview Street.
A few months ago, there was so much going on that I just needed to get away, and at just the right time, a friend of mine, Rocky, called and asked if I wanted to go for a kayak ride. Well, I love kayaking, so I didn't need to think about the invitation very long. So the next day, we both got ready and headed out on the ocean, and it was a beautiful day. The water was extra calm, the temperature was amazing, and the sun was shining, and it was just what I needed at the time. We kayaked kilometers along the coastline, enjoying the sights and sounds as the seagulls were calling and the crash of the waves against the shoreline seemed to drown out the difficult things that were on my mind. Well, after enjoying a lunch on the beach, we kayaked into this cove and we paddled into a thick school of capelin that filled the water from the top right down to the ocean floor, and it was incredible. And where there's an abundance of fish, it didn't take long before we spotted a whale that heard about the all-you-can-eat buffet. And we could see the whale diving and circling the fish while swallowing mouthfuls of them. Well, that day, Rocky had brought along his drone, so he got out on the shore while I stayed on the water, and the footage that he was able to capture was more than any of us anticipated. And instead of me trying to explain it, let me show you. Well, that's me in the boat, and the black water beneath me are thousands and thousands of fish. Now, take a look at the top of the screen. That's Mr. Whale underneath the surface of the water coming towards me. It was amazing. Now, truthfully, I knew he was around me somewhere, but I had no idea that he was that close. Now, Rocky was on the shore watching and seeing all of the things that I couldn't see. And Rocky was saying things like, "Pastor Mike, he's coming right at you. He's right in front of you. I can see everything perfectly." He said, "This is amazing." Now, I had to take his word for it because I couldn't see a thing. All I could see was the surface, a few ripples here and there. But Rocky saw everything because he had a different perspective. Now, if you're like me, there's probably been times in your life where you've wondered, what in the world is God doing in my life? And it makes no sense whatsoever. Things may not be adding up and you wonder, what in the world is the plan of God in all of this? You know, what I've learned in life is that I don't always understand or see what God is doing because I've only got a surface perspective of the situation. And maybe there are times when you doubt and sometimes you question, what is God doing and is He really working in my life? Well, that's humanity, right? We often say that God is sovereign. But what does that mean? It means that God is always in control and that God is always working to bring about His plan and purpose for our lives. It means that beneath the surface of your situation, something amazing is happening. And even though I can't see, God is working in ways that I cannot understand, in ways I cannot see. And in those times when I find it hard to trust, I have to believe that God is working things out for my good and for His glory. Because here's the bottom line. Even though you can't see Him, God is always working. And if you could only see beneath the surface of your situation, you would likely say what Rocky said. God's right there. He's right in front of you. And what God is doing beneath the surface of your life, it's amazing.
One day when heaven was filled with His praises, one day when sin was as black as could be, Jesus came forth to be born of a virgin, dwelt among men, my example is He. The Word became flesh and the light shined among us, His glory revealed. Living He loved me, dying He saved me, buried He carried my sins far away, rising He justified freely forever. One day He's coming, oh glorious day, oh glorious day, glorious day.
One day they led Him up Calvary's mountain. One day they nailed Him to die on a tree. Suffering anguish, despised and rejected, bearing our sins, my Redeemer is He. The hands that heal nations stretched out on a tree and took the nails for me.
Living He loved me, dying He saved me, buried He carried my sins far away, rising He justified freely forever. One day He's coming, oh glorious day, oh glorious day, glorious day. One day the grave could conceal Him no longer. stone roll away from the door. Then he arose over death he had conquered. Now he's ascended, my Lord evermore. Death could not hold him, the grave could not keep him from rising again. Living he loved me, dying he saved me, buried he carried my sins far away. Rising he justified freely forever. One day he's coming, oh glorious day, oh glorious day, glorious day. One day the trumpet will sound for his coming. One day the skies with his glory will shine. Wonderful day, my beloved one bringing. My Savior Jesus is mine. So living he loved, and dying he saved, and buried he carried my sins far away. And rising he justified freely forever. One day he's coming, oh glorious day, oh glorious day, oh glorious day, oh glorious day.
The words of that song really do share the essence of the gospel. Jesus went to the cross out of his great love for all of us, and in doing so, he forgave us, saved us, and justified us freely and forever. I want to thank Jeremy and Kristen for singing that truth over us today. I also want to thank Cynthia Petten for sharing her story as well. No matter how close to home COVID has struck you personally, there has been a profound effect on all of us in this season. The weariness of restrictions, the feelings of isolation and loneliness, these are all real and deep reactions. But do you know what? We believe that there is a real God, one who is concerned about you and your feelings, a God who invites you to talk to him about it and leave your burdens in his capable hands. Well, I wish we had more time together today, but we've come to the end of the show. We encourage you to check out any of our past episodes online, and we invite you all back again next week.